Filipino national who contracted the disease was discharged from the hospital on March 6, while the second and third cases are still confined in the hospital, which brings back to 3 the total number of COVID-19 positive Filipinos in the Special Administrative Region. The Department of Health reported 9 new cases of coronavirus today. Total now is 33 and not 35 as reported earlier.
This brings the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 33. Dr. Jose N. Rodriguez Memorial Hospital and Sanitarium for patient 21, Cardinal Santos Medical Center for patient 22, San Lazaro Hospital for patient 23, St. Luke's Medical Center, Quezon City for patient 24, New Clark City Quarantine Facility for patients 25 to 26, and the Medical City for patients 27 to 33 respectively.
DOH Assistant Secretary Maria Rosario Vergeire said that 11 reported by the DOH through its official Facebook page earlier positive samples and not the number of confirmed cases. A member of the University of the Philippines or UP community in Diliman, Quezon City is being monitored for manifesting symptoms of the coronavirus disease 2019, the campus chancellor confirmed on Tuesday. UP Diliman Chancellor Fidel Nemenzo said the patient under investigation, or PUI, who had high fever was screened at the University of Health Services, or UHS, holding area on Monday and later transferred to another hospital for testing. Nemenzo, however, did not give further details as to whether the PUI was a UP student, faculty member, or employee, and as to where hospital the patient was tested. In a statement, he said they assured that in handling the PUI, all protocols were strictly followed and that the patient was completely isolated from the rest of the UHS patients and that the holding area was immediately disinfected. Nemenzo said UP Diliman already formed a COVID-19 task force that is mandated to ensure the full and effective implementation of protocols and mechanisms to combat the threat of the coronavirus in the UP community. He said the campus also imposed new policies and guidelines that should be followed by UP students, faculty members, employees, and residents. Nemenzo said the policies and guidelines include indefinite local or international travel ban, cancellation of campus events, online classes, and observation of social distancing, proper hygiene, and behavioral etiquette. Nemenzo called on the UP Diliman community to take the precautionary measures to protect their collective health and well-being amid uncertainties about the local extent and pace of the spread of COVID-19. Singapore allowed a cruise ship carrying about 2,000 people to dock after it was barred by Malaysia and Thailand over coronavirus fears, officials said Monday. The Costa Fortuna was turned away from Thai holiday island of Phuket and the Malaysian state of Penang in recent days, despite having no suspected virus cases among its passengers and crew. However, the ship, carrying dozens of people from Italy, which has been hard hit by the virus, was allowed to dock at its home port of Singapore Tuesday as scheduled. The vessel, which set sail from Singapore on Tuesday last week, said no passengers were feverish or had other symptoms. Thailand refused to let the ship dock due to restrictions on people with recent travel history to Italy, while Malaysia has barred all cruise ships from the country's ports because of coronavirus fears. Italy has been hard hit by the virus. Officials said all passengers on the Costa Fortuna had completed necessary checks related to the virus before the start of the cruise.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Myanmar's military on Tuesday quashed proposals in parliament that would mean its MPs relinquish power in a vote pitting the armed forces in open opposition against Aung San Suu Kyi as elections loom. The vote was the climax of a year of fierce debates between MPs as the civilian government attempted to reform the constitution and reduce the military's stranglehold on parliament. The country is gearing up to polls likely to be held later this year, only the second since outright military rule came to an end. But the military still wields considerable power, appointing 3 key ministers: defense, border, and home affairs. Crucially, it holds a quarter of parliamentary seats, effectively giving it a veto over any legislation. Suu Kyi's ruling National League for Democracy has been fighting for reforms of the military's scripted 2008 constitution. In unprecedented scenes in Myanmar's young parliament, the tempers of civilian and military MPs have frayed during discussions of the amendments, with MPs shouting at each other across a normally staid chamber. The proposal to slash the number of seats reserved for the military came up on the opening day of a marathon series of votes expected to last nearly 2 weeks. In the end, it was voted down by 633 votes to 404. NLD MP Ong Thain told AFP his party had anticipated the loss, but had a duty to live up to its pledges to voters ahead of its landslide victory in 2015. Emotions have been at fever pitch on both sides, with rallies of both nationalists supporting the military and Suu Kyi's followers calling for reform. Another key vote Wednesday will be held on whether to strike down a clause widely thought to target Aung San Suu Kyi, banning anyone with foreigners as immediate family from becoming president. Even though Suu Kyi's late husband was British and her 2 sons are British citizens, her party circumvented the rule by creating her position of state councillor outside of the constitution. In a counter-proposal, the military instead seeks to extend the clause to include any ministerial position, a move that would take away several portfolios held by Suu Kyi. The proposed reform, however, stands virtually no chance of getting past an NLD-dominated parliament.
ဒီလွတ်တော်ထဲမှာရောက်လာပြီး debate လုပ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့တစ်ဖက်နဲ့တစ်ဖက်ညှင်းခုန်ယုံနဲ့တော့ဟိုသဘောတူညီနိုင်မဲ့အချက်တွေရဖို့နည်းနည်းခက်ခဲတယ်
6 Indonesians have been arrested for allegedly spreading misinformation online about the deadly coronavirus, police said Tuesday, as the Southeast Asian nations confirmed infection cases jumped. A woman in Indonesia's second biggest city, Surabaya, was arrested Monday for spreading inaccurate claims on Facebook. A patient was being treated for the virus in the city, police said. 5 others were also detained for spreading false information on social media, including claims a Muslim woman flying to Saudi Arabia for a religious pilgrimage had died suddenly from the virus at Jakarta's international airport. All 6 suspects are accused of violating laws banning the spread of misinformation, which carries as much as 6 years in prison. Senior Communications Ministry official Samuel Abrijani Pangerapan said it should serve as a lesson for other people not to spread hoaxes about coronavirus in Indonesia. Last month, 2 Indonesian women were arrested for allegedly posting virus-linked misinformation in a country with some 130 million people online, among the globe's biggest internet audiences. On Monday, the country reported its confirmed cases had jumped to 19 from 6. Scientists have questioned the relatively low number of cases in the world's 4th most populous country and suggested there could be many more people with the illness. COVID-19 has killed more than 4,000 people and infected over 110,000 globally since it emerged last year. Police seized some 1.9 million face masks from a warehouse outside Surabaya on Monday after coronavirus sparked panic buying and sent prices for prevention products skyrocketing. The Metro Rail Transit Line 3, or MRT3, has intensified the disinfection of its trains following the recent increase in confirmed cases of the coronavirus disease 2019 in the country. The MRT3 management said Tuesday the disinfection of its trains has been increased to include hand straps and seats, aside from handles, poles, and other necessary areas. Department of Transportation Assistant Secretary Goddess Hope Libiran said MRT3 began disinfecting its trains since end of January, and this is performed every time each train goes inside the turnback at the MRT3 depot beside the North Avenue station before being sent out for another trip. The MRT3 said train disinfection takes about 2 to 3 minutes and is performed by 6 personnel of its maintenance and rehabilitation provider, Sumitomo Mites. At the station, the MRT3 said alcohol dispensers have been placed beside ticket windows, while restrooms have soap that passengers could use. Over the weekend, the MRT3 upgraded the uninterruptible power supply unit in its North Avenue, Shaw Boulevard, and Taft Avenue stations, saying this would increase the security and reliability of the rail service. On the first day of March, the MRT3 also deployed 30 train marshals with at least 1 aboard every train to serve as first responders for any incidents and extend assistance to passengers of the rail line. ASEAN countries have agreed to try and persuade India to return to the negotiating table for the 16-nation regional comprehensive economic partnership trade deal. Representatives of ASEAN countries also discussed investment service regulations and flexible open-door market policy among the 16 nations. The discussions were implemented at the preparatory RCEP meeting in the central city, one of a series of activities including the ASEAN Trade Negotiating Committee for ASEAN Economic Ministers caucus meeting on RCEP at the 26 AEM retreat on the second working day Monday. Deputies from ASEAN also agreed to fix a schedule for ending negotiations and yesterday's meeting. Vietnam, in its role as ASEAN chair in 2020, has coordinated with regional countries to ensure the benefits of all ASEAN members and would act as a bridge with India. Participants agreed that despite India's withdrawal, the RCEP would still be a big free trade that sets a common trade rule. However, ASEAN members also expressed their expectations that the participation of 16 countries would bring huge benefits for all members. Negotiations for the RCEP, which started in 2012, have targeted strengthening economic cooperation among the 10 ASEAN members with China, Japan, Korea, Australia, India, and New Zealand. The RCEP is home to 30% of the world's population and 29% of the world's gross domestic product. Vietnam has proposed initiatives, priorities, and cooperation plans for discussion, consultation, and consensus with member states to conclude negotiations. Monday's preparatory meeting was the second working day after the preparatory senior economic officials meeting preluding the 26th ASEAN Economic Meeting Retreat. The 26th ASEAN Economic Meeting Retreat will take place in Da Nang on March 10 before the ASEAN Business Advisory Council consultation on March 11. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am one with 25.
Going live with Shelly Lazaro, Saturdays, 10 a.m. on Net 25.